Today we are looking at all the Marvel comics published with a cover date of January 1964. Stan Lee was very busy writing, and there were 9 superhero genre comics published this month. We're going to go take a look in depth at all of them, starting with Amazing Spider-Man number 8. This is the 105th Marvel Silver Age superhero comic published since they started up in 1961. This book has a feature on Flash Thompson. Looking at the CGC Census, you can see copies are really growing year by year. We now have almost 1,700 copies graded in total, but only 21 9.6s are better because super high grade books are extremely rare for books of this age. Heritage Auctions has sold over 400 copies in the last 20 years. This has a bold yellow background cover. Using the Overstreet annual price guide year by year, we can see that the book has not been moving too much at all in low grades. It's very consistent. And in high grades, it has not even doubled in the last 16 years. But watch the graded copies by CGC on eBay, recent sales, and also the gpanalysis.com to see how the graded copies are selling, because there are records being broken all the time. And on the census overall, there are 6 9.8s and 15 9.6s. There is a UK price variant, extremely rare. There are no high grade copies at all graded by CGC, the average grade being a 5.2. Also out this month is Avengers number 3. At this point, it's being published bi-monthly. This is the 3rd issue, an early key issue. It features the historic first team up between the Hulk and the Submariner. Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Spider-Man also all appear in this issue. Comics at this time were 12-cent cover price. This book features Jack Kirby cover and art. There is no 9.8 copy graded ever by CGC of this book. On the CGC Census, you can see we're almost up to 1,200 copies. There's only 8 9.6s or better. Heritage sold over 300 copies. In the Overstreet price guide, the book is more than doubled in this time frame I'm showing. And in high grade, it's gone up almost 4.5 times. And on the census, no 9.8s, but there are 8 9.6s. Not many of the UK price variants, and again, no high grade copies at all. Fantastic Four number 22 is the issue where Sue Storm gains more powers. It's the 2nd appearance of the Mole Man, and it features letters from young fans Dave Cockrum and Roy Thomas, who would of course become big names in the comic world years later. So this issue, of course, features Jack Kirby art. Not many copies at all, surprisingly, on the census. 452 in all grades, and 12 9.6s or better. Heritage has only sold 120. Solid red background cover featuring the Mole Man on the cover. Overstreet price guide, the book is almost doubled in lower grades, and it is more than tripled in higher grades raw. On the CGC Census, there are 2 9.8s and 10 9.6s. Only 1 copy of the UK price variant graded at all. It is a 6. Journey into Mystery 100 features Mr. Hyde. This is the 100th issue anniversary, and of course features Thor. This is his 18th issue in a row, running as the star of this title. Jack Kirby cover art. 321 copies graded overall by CGC, but only 5 9.6s or better. 89 sold by Heritage. That's very few. Overstreet price guide has doubled in lower grades and has more than tripled in high grades raw. On the census overall, there are no 9.8s, but there are 5 9.6s. There are none of the UK price variants being graded at all by CGC. Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos number 5 features the first appearance of Baron Strucker. This has Jack Kirby and George Russo's cover and art. Print run estimated at 225,000 copies, which is sort of the norm at this time. Pretty well all Marvel superhero books were selling in the 200 to 225,000 range. It's slowly growing year by year. Not many copies of this one graded, 212 total on the CGC Census, only 5 9.6s or better. Heritage only sold 30 copies, not many at all. And here's a hard whitish yellow background. The Overstreet annual price guide shows not much movement at all in low grades. And in high grades, it has gone up about 2.5 times raw. On the census, there is a 9.8 and 4 9.6s. Only one of the UK price variant graded. It is an 8.0. Next on our list is Strange Tales 116. This is the 16th issue in a row featuring the Human Torch as the main attraction of the book. And we've got the Thing on the cover. Puppet Master manipulates Human Torch into battling the Thing, which makes this his first crossover appearance. Cover art by Jack Kirby, interior art by Steve Ditko and Dick Ayers. 221 copies graded in total. Only 8 9.6s or better. Heritage has sold 39. Over street price guide, again, not too much movement in low grades at all. And in high grades, it has tripled. On the census, there are 2 9.8s, 6 9.6s, only one of the UK price variant. It's graded at 8.5. Tales of Suspense 49 features the first time that the X-Men appear outside of their own title. This is a very early appearance for them. The Angel's on the cover here with Iron Man in this cool red background cover. The backup feature is the debut of Tales of the Watcher series drawn by Larry Lieber. The cover is by Jack Kirby. A few more copies of this on the census, 639 in total. Only 8 9.6 or better. Heritage sold quite a few, 179 copies. In the Overstreet Annual Price Guide, the book has almost doubled in lower grades, and it has gone up three times in higher grades raw. On the census, there are 3 9.8s, 5 9.6s, a bunch of the UK price variants this time, but the highest is an 8.5. Tales to Astonish 51 was released this month. It's the second appearance of the Human Top. Cover art by Jack Kirby. Not many copies of this on the census, only 230 with 9 9.6s or better. 50 copies only sold at Heritage in the last 20 years, not much at all. This interesting purple background for the logo. In the Overstreet Price Guide, the book has almost doubled in lower grades, but notice this is an extremely cheap, affordable book still in low grades. On high grade, the book has almost tripled raw. On the census, there are 2 9.8s, 7 9.6s, 2 of the UK price variants, the highest being an 8.5. And also this month, X-Men #3. This book also being published bi-monthly. Hadn't proven itself yet to be a big enough selling title, but print run is estimated at 200,000 copies. It's the first appearance of the Blob in this cover. And I always think that this cover looks very similar to #1. It's got that same white, creamy background cover. The original X-Men team. Many copies graded of this book because this is such a highly collected series. Almost 1,600 copies in total with 14 9.6s or better. Heritage has even sold over 300 copies. In the Overstreet Price Guide, though, it has not yet doubled in lower grades. And in high grades, it's gone up a bit more than double raw. And on the census, there are 6 9.8s and 8 9.6s. UK price variants, there's 19 of them, with the highest being an 8.0. Now, what we're going to do now is compare these books on the CGC Census to see what exactly is going on in terms of rarity and which books are most demand. So the books with the most copies graded by CGC does not mean it's the most common book. It actually means it's the most high demand book. People are getting more and more copies graded, including more and more low grades. So the book with the most copies graded is Amazing Spider-Man #8. It is the first appearance of the Living Brain, but I think the real reason so many copies are graded just because it's an early issue of Amazing Spider-Man, which is by far the most collected Marvel series ever. There are 6 9.8s of that title. Also high up on the list is X-Men #3 with almost 1,600 copies and Avengers 3 with almost 1,200. But after that, all these others are not really major keys, so they have far fewer copies graded. The lowest being Sergeant Fury at 212 and Strange Tales at 221. I threw Millie the Model 118 on here just to compare. This book also came out this month, as did a few Westerns, but they're not as highly collected. So you can see there's only 4 copies graded of Millie the Model in any condition, and the highest being about a 9.2. For books that have extremely high number of high-grade copies on the census, let's compare that. There are no 9.9s, but most of these books do have a 9.8, but not all of them. Journey into Mystery and Avengers do not have a 9.8. The book with the most copies high grade in total, again, would appear to be Amazing Spider-Man #8. Just way more copies on the census and more copies saved and collected in super high grade. So there you go. All the Marvel comics released, cover dated January 1964. We do a month every week in this series. Please subscribe to this channel. I thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.